Good morning. Can you hear me now? My name is Gary Simon, and I'm your worship associate today. I invite you to please rise and body your spirit and joining in hymn number 337 in the gray hymnal.
Good morning. My name is Mike Kemper. My pronouns are he, him. Excuse me. I have no king's voice today. And I'm the Vice President of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. We have a few announcements. We invite you to join us next Saturday morning, April 1st, for one of the spring cleanup days. Come for an hour, or 2, or 3, between 9 and 12 to help us sprucing up our buildings and grounds. Think of it as your birthday present to our building. Well, the building is 100 years old this year, in case you haven't heard. We have a list of easy tasks you can do indoors or outside. The Pledge Committee would like to thank you for getting your pledge cards in as soon as possible. To date, 16 pledges have been turned in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can turn your pledge cards into the basket during services at the pledge table or mail it in the old-fashioned way. If you have questions about pledging or need a new pledge card, please drop by our pledge table after services or drop an email to Yaya, Christine, Heather, or Salma, and we're happy to help. The pledge drive ends on April 12th with a celebratory potluck. Let's make it a successful drive to support our home for love in the world. Also, the Artists of Northern Westchester Annual Art Show is coming up. You can purchase a raffle ticket today at coffee hour to support the show. A beautiful piece by Anne-Marie Palagano is the raffle prize. For our last announcement, I'd like Felix to come up to the microphone and issue an invitation.
Attention all. Attention all tea drinkers. Today after the service, I will be co-hosting the Tea Tasters Table. Anyone can just sit right down and join. Look for the table with the tea sign on it. We will be sampling 4 different teas and vote to see which one we like best. See you at coffee hour.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Gary. I gotta learn how to do that. Okay. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you are present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you are just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name or fill out a yellow welcome card in the pew, and we will make sure you are added to our e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
No, I'm not lighting the chalice yet. Not lighting. Still not lighting. I would like to introduce Lily Karayanis, our guest speaker today. Lily is a graduate of the Union Theological Seminary. Her day job is investigating NYPD officers who are accused of misconduct. Lily focuses her ministry on ecology, animal liberation, trans rights, and police reform. Lily.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be back with you all. The invocation today is from the Tao Te Ching. It's chapter 62, Consider Beginnings. Do without doing, act without action, savor the flavorless, treat the small as large, the few as many. Meet injury with the power of goodness. Study the hard while it's easy, and do big things while they're small. The hardest jobs in the world start out small. The great affairs of the world start small. So the wise soul, by never dealing with great things, gets great things done. Now, since taking things too lightly makes them worthless, and by taking things too easy makes them hard, the wise souls, by treating the easy as hard, does not find anything hard.
I now invite Jane. Is Jane here? There she is. And the children of the congregation to come on up and do their thing and ring that bell. Ring that bell. Thank you. Our chalice lighting words today are from Aisha Hauser and Susan Lawrence. We are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands that are ready to serve. Together, we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world. Now would you please join me in saying our unison affirmation, the words of which are in your order of service. Inspired
By love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
Now, we would like to invite our children to head on out for their religious exploration classes. Alex, would you help?
Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the
Now I'm going to invite up Betsy Cates for a few words.
Okay, how's that? That's good.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Betsy Cates. So the theme for our pledge drive is building a home. My house. I'm going home. So good to be home. I guess like most people, the place I call home is probably the most important element in my life. Since I moved to Montrose 8 years ago, every single day I drove on Albany Post Road past this building. Each time I admired its simple beauty, its iconic and charming placement perched on the hill among the trees. Back and forth, this building watched me drive by. I had actually stopped in a few times, even attended a service or two years earlier. But it was not until after the pandemic and some personal changes that included a bit of soul-searching that I began to think as I passed by, if I am a lifelong UU, now living a 5-minute drive away, why am I not inside that beautiful little storybook of a church? So in I stepped. I waited. I spoke to Rev Daniel. Actually, strike that. I cried to Rev Daniel. I asked a lot of questions. How do you do this or that here? I found myself mindful and aware of the pronoun of that collective you. It took me a minute, make that a year, of attending, during which I promised myself, no joining, no committees, just be here. Don't even become a member yet. A year became 2, and then becoming a member seemed okay. It felt better than okay. It felt right. More and more often, that you pronoun morphed into we. Each week, walking in the door felt more and more like home. I attended events, meetings, lunches, dinners, and then, now I was ready to join a committee. Just one, and something new that I had never done before. Then I joined a community circle that met monthly. That word circle became an apt description of our group, whose shared laughter, tears, wonderings, and ruminations braided together into something strong and palpable. Now each Sunday, in the little church with its pretty windows, I'm inside. I see new faces show up, their eyes bright with questions about how the words, the harmonies of the hymns, The shared silence of meditations can speak to them. We, note the we, see the paper name tags, and we go over to introduce ourselves and ask, how did you find us? I love all the different answers to that question. Oh, the kids and the kids. Oh, whoa. Excuse me, but a tea tasting? The kids of every age marching into that bell tower sheepishly or galloping in with excitement to coax that elusive tone out of the 150-year-old bells in the tower, though I do think the 100 rings a few weeks ago shook something loose. The lifeblood of the congregation are its children. I can recall being a little UU kid myself, and I even remember the nice grown-ups in my childhood congregation who took the time to talk to me and show a genuine interest. What do I want to build in this house? I want to build those relationships. I have heard stories of the kids in this congregation bringing their UU values with them from this home to school and beyond as they seek to help a friend's dad who's been deported or stand up to racist or misogynistic remarks. It makes me proud to be in this building, this home, with them. How urgent are communities like the one we have here? Very. I took a good long look at the pledge chart in my packet last week and decided I could clip a little bit here and a little bit there in my budget, and so this year I upped my pledge. This home matters so much more than new sneakers or a dinner out or a pedicure. We need to build these walls strong, as the hymn says, to keep hate out and hold love in. This cute little church with its not-so-little heart and its resonant bells. This home is a worthy investment. The theme of this month's UU Community Circle was embracing possibility. One of the readings by Cameron Trimble seemed just right for this occasion, so I will end by sharing it with you. The invitation is not to perfect your plans, but to tend your attention, not to demand transformation, but to notice what is already changing, not to rush toward the future, but to stand here long enough to hear what it is asking of you.
I don't need glasses. We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored tradition. As we begin, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged. We light our first candle to honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there's also celebration and joy in our world. And we honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, it's been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward, and I will light a candle. You may speak. You may speak briefly to tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and I'll light a candle for you. Please remember that your joys and sorrows are being shared on the live stream and the broader virtual community.
Hi, I'm Susie. I mentioned last week that we had a program at my library called Hatch a Chicken, and my little chickens are going back tomorrow, so I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed them, and if anyone wants to do Rent a Chicken, it's really fun.
Hi, Caroline Staples. My parents were founding members, Lee and Florence Culpepper, in the late 1950s. And soon after we joined, my father went to some kind of committee meeting at somebody's house, and they passed out some folder with a few pages, and somebody said, what page are we on? And my father piped up, the antepenultimate. And everybody turned to the third from the last page without turning a hair, and Dad knew we'd come to the right place.
I have a double joy candle. As some of you know, my kids live on the West Coast, and it's very hard for me that they're very far away. My daughter's in Seattle, my son's in Portland, but this weekend, they're spending the weekend together in Portland, and it just gives me such it sort of takes away the sadness of them being far away to know that they're spending time together. It makes me so happy, and they FaceTimed me yesterday. My second joy is that my friend Veronica, who I've known since I was 14, spent the weekend with me, and last night we went to see I'm With Her at the Tarrytown Music Hall. I knew Sarah Jaros, who is I don't know who the main person is, but it's a vocal and string folk Zydeco, everything trio. Unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to see them live, don't miss it. Oh, so good.
Hi, I'm Ginny Stillman, and I want to shout out for all the people who showed up yesterday for the All Kings Rally. No Kings Rally. All the people, okay. And I counted at least 20 of us who made it there. It was really exciting to see a big turnout. My other joy that I want to share is this past week I attended online the UU the Vote launch for 2026. UU the Vote is something that the Unitarian Universalist Association has been promoting since 2020, maybe even 2016. Anyway, some of you know about it. We'll be doing more with it again this year. But the woman who has helped organize it, Nicole Presley, she mentioned during the meeting, and there were almost 500 people from all over the country on this Zoom meeting, but what she mentioned was it was the Unitarian Universalist religion, faith-based Unitarians, who were the most influential in Minnesota in helping to bring out people to protest, to try to find a resolution. She said more than any other religious group. So I thought that was, something that we should be proud of. So.
Hi, I'm Margie. My pronouns are she, her. And on Wednesday, Mike and I had a joy. We went representing Fourth Fridays to PrideWorks annual conference for LGBTQ youth. And we spent the day tabling and volunteering and just being part of this wonderful event. The concern is there were only 400 kids this year. There were 500 the year before and 600 the year before that. So a lot of schools have said, well, we don't have any DEI funding. We don't have, so the buses were fewer and the kids were fewer, and I hope that trend swings the other way soon.
My name is Chris. I have a simple joy in that my New Year's resolution was to get better at plumbing this year, and my kitchen faucet started leaking everywhere, and I successfully replaced it without flooding my kitchen.
Oh, I'm Maddie. I just want to report on a joy. Last week, we had an opportunity to be part of a workshop after service with Reverend Anna Levy-Lyons. And as a result of looking more deeply at spiritual practices in my life and how I could expand them, I have had really an amazing week with acting on a few of the things that we talked about, and I got to spend time with my accountability partner, Betsy, which was just so wonderful to get to know you better. And I just feel like there's all kinds of ripples happening, and some of it is me asking some pretty deep questions about myself and about my partner and our lives together. So I just am so grateful that this is another thing that this congregation offers to us. So.
And now place this final lit candle for all these joys and sorrows, for all those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and to be received with love.
I invite you now into a time of meditation and prayer. I invite you to put yourself into a comfortable position, whatever that looks like for you. And I invite you to breathe. It is so hard to find time to sit in the calm, to sit only with your breath, to refrain from doing something and just sit, feeling the rhythm of your body. Let us ease into this space. Try and let go of the worries and the anticipations of later. Those will be there when you're done, but this is your time. It's your time to be, and your time to breathe, and your time to rest. Our readings today are a series of haikus written by the Japanese poet Issa from the 1700s. Like many haiku writers, Issa was concerned with nature, but also with a lot of the small things, the flies and the crickets. I will admit that at times when I read haikus, I fail to grasp maybe the deeper meaning of what's going on. But I find Issa to be... Let me pull that away a little bit. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, okay. I find Issa to be much easier to understand. He is irreverent, funny, and at times cantankerous. So the first poem requires a little bit of context. In Japan in the 1700s, New Year's Day was in spring, and it was the day that everybody celebrated their birthdays. So you can imagine poets wrote these lovely poems in joy and praise of this day. But Issa writes, New Year's Day, everything is in blossom. I feel about average. Some others, that toad, it looks like it could belch a cloud. No doubt about it, the mountain cuckoo is a crybaby. One human being, one fly in a large room. Even with insects, some can sing, some can't. Don't worry, spiders. I keep house casually. About his death, he writes, a bath when you're born, a bath when you die. How stupid. And finally, a poem I think of often. It's one of my favorite poems. Don't kill that fly. It's wringing its hands, wringing its feet. So I invite you all now to rise and body your spirit for our next hymn, number 352, Find a Stillness. I think it's a great hymnal. This past spring, a colony of wasps made the interesting decision to build a nest in the jamb of my back door such that we couldn't open it without tearing apart the nest. It started out small, about the size of a fist. Now, I'm a sucker for the little creatures, often to my detriment. And also, I'm not as on top of my home maintenance as I think maybe my neighbors are. So I took inventory of the situation, and I decided that the wasps could have their home. I could always knock it down later. And the nest grew. And it grew. And by summer, it was double the size of my head. The FedEx driver kindly sets packages on the back door because it is the only part of my house with a covering. He no longer sets packages on my back door. And by the time that fall came, the nest was a ziggurat of perfection in the wasp world. It was a protected, giant nest where countless young lived their lives. And I felt this like imagined pressure to take it down from all sides of me. I thought about my neighbors who surely did not allow things to get this out of hand. And yet, every time I thought about taking it down, I just thought of the wasps in there feeding and rearing their young, and I'd grow soft again. So I researched, and I learned that the wasps overwinter in tree bark. They don't overwinter in the nest. So I thought, I could wait till it got cold enough, and then I'd take it down. So it grew colder, and the nest grew quieter, and I never got around to taking it down. Predictable. But then, in the winter, I started hearing this scritching noise at the back door, so I snuck over and peered out of the window, and in that split second, I just imagined this huge, cartoonish swarm of wasps beating down my door, trying to escape the cold. But instead, I was greeted with a host of tufted titmouses. They're these beautiful little birds with a mohawk, and they were flying down and pecking bits and pieces off of the wasp nest. They were dismantling it piece by piece. Next, a downy woodpecker came in for a little treat. And soon I had a small host of backyard birds hanging around my back door. Now, I had a bird feeder a few years ago, but following an unfortunate incident involving a bear, I had to take it down. So I missed my bird friends. Well, before the first snow, they had dismantled the entire wasp nest, leaving only a Fibonacci spiral marking the place where it had been. And I thought to myself that finally, my study of inaction worked in my favor. I thought of the Tao, and I thought of its focus on inaction as a form of action. I do try to read a section of the Tao Te Ching every morning. It's an ancient Chinese sacred text, and as such, it has thousands of years of commentary and experience, so everything I say here should not be taken as the truth with a capital T of Taoism. But just like one can take inspiration from the Psalms and not be a biblical scholar or even a Christian, I think that we can take inspiration from the Tao. So central to the Tao is the notion of Wu Wei, which is translated as inaction, not doing, effortless action. And I've come to love this concept or this practice, especially in relief to a society that constantly demands action from us. It's a simple idea, this idea of doing by inaction. It's deceptively simple. If it was simply just don't do stuff, the Tao would, which is already a short book, would be much shorter. Indeed, we could question whether or not there would be a book at all, since that might violate the conditions of not doing. But in trying to understand this notion of not doing, I've come to think of it in three things. The first is meditation. The second is a clarifying reflection of our ultimate purpose. And then finally, I think of the cultivation of meaning, or what I'll call poesis. But why is this idea so important? Well, our modern society demands action from us in a lot of ways. But one of the primary ways that it calls us to act is to produce and buy, to make and consume. And in some ways, this has been part of our world since time immemorial, but modern society has really supercharged this activity. Growing up, my mother had this photo album that had actual glossy photos of us, and these albums were like a sacred object in the house. They were the first thing to leave the house in case of fire. Each photo had lovingly written on the back of it the names of the folks in the photo and the time that the photos were taken. And sure, maybe this book was shared with another family member or a friend periodically, but it was more often a collection of personal memories to hold and to cherish. And with the rise of digital photography and social media, our family photos have entered into a more public sphere. They are an act to connect our friends and our families to what we are doing at any given time, and perhaps most importantly for those websites, driving our collective engagement with those social media platforms. So increasingly, we find ourselves called to do by creating content for these social media websites. And I'm not unilaterally condemning this, but it is an example as a microcosm of what I see increasingly to be the case. Things that we did at one time that were not part of a production or a consumption cycle, things that we just did for ourselves or for our immediate family, have been subsumed into a system of doing by creating content for the attention of others. And I want to say this is okay. I mean, we all have to work because we want to live, and we are all absolutely allowed to enjoy the creative products of others. And I want to say, it can't be everything. Our attention, our eyes, and our ears turned in one direction has the capacity to create wealth and confer power. And those who are hungry for wealth and power will do anything to keep us in a cycle of creating and consuming content. So I believe that cultivating a healthy sense of not doing can center us in a world of action that threatens to alienate ourselves from ourselves. Meditation is a revolutionary activity in the face of these demands. The practice of meditation is one that emphasizes not doing. Meditation is an act of removing externally oriented movement and decreasing action. So each week here, we gather and we practice things that we want to see in the world. We practice generosity by giving to the plate. We practice community care by sharing our joys and sorrows. And we practice inaction through meditation. Now, a friend of mine and an avid practitioner of meditation always says that everyone should meditate 10 minutes a day. And if they feel like they can't quite do 10 minutes a day, they should meditate 30 minutes a day. So we practice meditation here every week. And in that practice, we practice resisting that urge to do something. We resist that urge to look at our phone, to speak with our neighbor. We sit with ourselves and we be. Now, meditation can take many forms, so I am not just talking about the traditional forms that we think of breathing meditation. It can be those moments you find yourself staring at a wall. It can be those times that you plaintively walk through your garden. But central to the idea of meditation is that you're not achieving a goal, but simply being with yourself, being with your breath, being with your own thoughts. So not acting is central to the notion of meditation. It grounds us in our bodies and in ourselves. Now, after meditation, I think, is a practice of what I will call clarifying reflection about ultimate purpose. We do so much for the sake of something else. I work so I can get money. I get money so I can buy stuff. I buy stuff because I value the perpetuation of my life. I value the perpetuation of my life because, and wherever that line of questioning ends, wherever that thing is that we do just for itself, that is an ultimate purpose. So for many of the ancient Greeks, it might be this concept of the good. For some, it may be Jesus or God, and for others, it may be love or earth. Whatever your answer to the question, it's important that we ask it, that we go through the process of trying to discern what our own most desires are. And without clarity on that, we can lose sight of our ultimate purpose and just end up doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. And in that state, it doesn't mean that we won't do great things, but how great will the things we do be if they are hollowed out of ultimate meaning? Often, in the forensic activity of commerce, I can find myself losing that sense of purpose, and I can find myself asking, why am I watching this video again? Why am I engaging with this? I think that centering ourselves in our sacred purpose can help us when we have those feelings of being unmoored. It can help us return to what matters most to us. So engaging a practice of meditation and then reflecting and clarifying what is most meaningful to us can help us guide our action and our intention, and it can help insulate us from those actors in the world who want to capture those feelings, the power of those feelings of love or joy or grief, and turn those into the tools that alienate ourselves from ourselves. So it's an act of resistance to stay centered in the love that moves you and the purpose that drives your heart. Finally, I believe that a practice of cultivating meaning, or what the ancient Greeks call poesis, is central. And poesis is where we get the term poetry. I think wasps engage in poesis when they make their nest. The birds engage it when they eat it. And at the heart of poesis, I think, is the question, how are we home in the world? I think of the wasps in their nest and the birds, and I think about how much our shared purpose might just be loving the earth, loving life. The earth is the ground for everything that we have ever known and loved. It is us. It is our home. When I moved out of the city to Westchester, I moved to be closer to nature, which means in many ways to be closer to the wasps and spiders and the birds. And I think, what is the meaning that I can glean from the new generation of pollinators in the wasp nest, or the tufted titmouses who almost playfully tear that nest apart? It's all poesis. It's not the creation of content to be bought and sold, but it's the experience of life on this beloved planet. It is at once a discernment of beauty and meaning of the earth and life itself, and it is the participating in the creation of that meaning. So when we turn our attention to our sacred breath, when we turn our attention to our backyard bugs, we remove ourselves from this nexus of doing that can sap our spirit. And when we break that circuit, we are able to renew that sense of what is most sacred to us. And we can, and I'll quote the Tao, deal with the big while it is still small. And by treating the easy as hard, find nothing hard at all. One of Isa's most insightful poems that we read earlier to me is the following. Don't worry, spiders. I keep house casually. When we think of house as our at-homeness in the world, when we think of being at home, meaning that cultivated sense of meaning-making in the world that surrounds us, and when we think of homeness as the sacred, I think that we can also translate Isa's poem as, don't worry, blessed creatures, we keep this sacred earth casually. So may we cultivate a sense of sacred not doing, a laziness that resists the call to alienate ourselves from what we hold sacred. Let us meditate. Let us clarify our purpose, and let us cultivate meaning of the world around us. And may we welcome the way, the truth, and the life. In that spirit, I invite us to stand as we are able and sing our final hymn, number 89, Come My Way, My Truth, My Life.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty we're blessed to enjoy. We do this in the spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those that in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with SPCA of Westchester. You can visit their website for further information. Website info is in the order of service. You can make your donation in several ways. If present here, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, which is uuchudsonvalley.org. If you prefer, you may always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please join me in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. And now Lily and I will extinguish the chalice. So please join me with the words that are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth. the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Let us go. Be lazy on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And in so doing, let us sing these songs of freedom, redemption songs.
Sherry. I hope so. I'm glad you sent that reminder. Okay. Because I'd actually forgotten. We kept moving it around. I'm sorry. But yeah.